Oh well, I finally was able to change the color of the ticker to a little bit more golden, little fits channel a little bit better instead of the green, my favorite color. But that's neither here nor there. This week in indoor football is back for another banger for like 10 minutes, of course, Not much I can say, about the IFL that hasn't already been said. Just continues to look looks pretty good. There's been some pretty good football from the IFL. Jacksonville's still looking really nice. They are boasting right now. They are definitely boasting right now, but I mean, it's understandable that they are. You know, some teams are struggling right now, like Orlando. They're kind of just in the middle of things. Tucson's kind of, but they got Jerome Johnson, everything like that. So that does kind of, make some things a little bit more interesting in some cases. Um, Vegas is still Vegas. Arizona is still Arizona. Yeah, there was like a QB battle between Drew Powell and Max Mailer, but I mean, at the same time, it's like something's gonna have to give at some point. You know, I'm just saying, and it should be an interesting, intriguing fight. To get to the top. Of the IFL. Bottom is still the bottom. And honestly, Quad City is like right there. They have looked horrendous. A lot of people picked them again. We harped on this for weeks. A lot of people picked them to win the IFL championship, and yet things are not materializing the way they want this year. It's just been bad thing after bad thing for them. It's like you can't even do anything about it. Like, you know, and some people are gonna say, "Oh well, it's this," but I mean, there's just so many factors in play here for Quad City, and it's just like it's not gonna fix itself. The team is gonna have to fix it. Speaking of things that got fixed, the IAL has gotten rid of all the European teams. Finally, they did that. It's just the five American teams, which a lot of people are, putting based the rumors that these some of these teams could be absorbed by the AF1 or something like that. It's not a merger, but it's something. But these teams are gonna keep playing basically each other for the rest of the season, which I mean I'm not entirely, shocked that the European teams fell under. It took too long for this to happen though. And it shouldn't have even been a thing. We should have just had the American teams. There was no way Europe was gonna work. We had the China Arena Football League for like 1 year in 2019 or whatever. I think it was like 2018, 2019. We had that. And it's like it didn't work, guys. It didn't work. What makes you think the European football? What makes you think the Europeans are gonna go for that? You know, the labor laws notwithstanding. What makes you think Europe is gonna go ahead and say, "Hey, we're watching arena football." They like American football over there, and they like soccer, you know, a lot. Like, like have you seen the amount of European games in the NFL over the years? It makes more sense for that league than it does for our niche minor league sport. Just is what it is. Like, you see the begging that another Orlando-based team had to do, this week just to get a home playoff game. Like the Kia Center is expensive, bro. There's a reason the Kia Center is expensive. Like we don't have time for nonsense. Let's just keep rolling and trucking along. There's been some good games in the IL. I'm not. There's been some good things from the IL. There's been some good stuff, but it is what it is with that. Well, the NAL playoffs are here. Sioux City and Omaha will meet again in the first round. Southwest Kansas, despite getting an L, you know, they're going to host a playoff. They're gonna host a second round playoff game. Pueblo's also going to host. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. And then, of course, good old Salina and good old Colorado, they'll play also in that first round matchup, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, It's gonna be intriguing. Like I said, it's gonna be very, very, very fun. Very, very fun. So yeah, yeah, I got that right. Yeah, yeah, I got that right. Yeah. So Salina, Colorado, first round should be fun. Sioux City and the resurgent winners of five straight in the Omaha Beef. You know, some people are picking Omaha to take it all the way, which I mean, the way Omaha's been playing, I'm not surprised that they do. And I do think Southwest Kansas still is the class of the league this year. But what the other thing is the NAL announced is that, hey, we're going back to Mesquite. Mesquite hasn't had a team in over 7 years, you know, with the Dallas Marshalls and everything like that. The Mesquite Arena, or whatever they call it now, they call it something completely different right now. Off the top of my head, it's like the Gomez Western something Arena, whatever. All Mesquite does right now is run rodeo shows. That's literally all they do. I live here. I live right close to Mesquite, so I know what's been going on. So don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about because I do. So the Apex, they got the Wise family on and some other guys from Beaumont. They got them on, to run this team, the Apex, the Dallas Apex, which I've seen the unis that look nice. I'm gonna cop me one, you know, whenever that's available, because I want it. So I'm getting it. So therefore, the Apex, again, Dallas isn't really the ski is also not really an area where you can attract, a crazy good audience, but NAL believes that Dallas is going to work. The Dallas Fort Worth area is going to work, despite the fact that teams are not moving to South Dallas. They're moving up north. Hint, hint. The Stars and the Mavs. They're not moving down here. They're not. It's not happening, guys. But think Mesquite. If we can get maybe 2 to 3K up in that arena, I think, each and every week, I think things will be okay. But the marketing has to be a lot better, and things have left a lot to be desired because Mesquite has been burned before by the CIF. Same thing with Fair Park. They've been burned like 3 or 4 times now. Really twice actually, but you get what I mean. They've been burned too many times. Too many of these arenas have been burned too many times. Mesquite may work this time around because of the fact that, hey, there's not a lot, happening inside this arena, because the Dallas Sidekicks don't play there no more. They died like last year. So, and the Apex, have some of Beaumont's, owners that got them that championship the very first year that they were around. Speaking of Beaumont, the AF1, it's still Albany, Nashville, Minnesota, and Kentucky, until further notice. Like, there's nothing really I can say that hasn't already been said. Like, yeah, Oceanside's playing really good too, at times. Beaumont's so right, I mean, Beaumont's there, I don't know. Michigan's also there, and then the West Coast teams, Oregon and Washington play each other like 5 times a year. So it's like it's not even worth it, not even worth talking about. But the Oregon and Washington just put on banger after banger every time they play. To be quite honest with you, they continue to put out heavy hitters, and I don't know why. But yeah, we're now in the month of June, and now playoffs are in motion for the NAL. The TAL has begun. That means Monroe's kicked off. Not everybody obviously has had their home opener yet because everybody, not had their home opener yet. But Arkansas, looked pretty interesting. Nebraska looked pretty interesting. Memphis was kind of, they were looking pretty good, in places. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the TAL, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I have to recheck the highlights again because I've forgotten some of the scores. And that's why I ain't putting no scores down or anything like that. But yeah, summertime is truly one of the best times of the year for me personally because now I can really immerse myself in the Serena Ball, and talk shop. A lot of stuff I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch though because there's been some things that I've clearly missed over the week. There's been the wheeling thing that has been also weighing heavily on people's minds, because wheeling the Nailers have played like so many playoff games, and everything like that. And it's crazy how these minor hockey leagues are going further into June when even the NHL doesn't go this far into June. Like how are we still how's like the ECHL, the AHL and all that? How are or rather the AHL at least? How are we still on the Western Conference Finals? How are we still on the Eastern Conference Finals? Why are we not in the finals, the actual finals? Some of the and I forget the names of some of these, finals, but still, why are we not in the actual finals at this point? Like this is genuinely ridiculous. Wheeling has lost like 3 games, at this point, 3 home games. The Michigan Raptors said nah. The Pittsburgh Outlaws said nah, we not going. We not going down to Wheeling. You know, there was a whole alternative solution of, hey, what if you go to Jersey? And it's like, no, no, it's a solution. It's a solution that's well meaning, but no. So, you know, it's still Columbus's AAL to win though, but I mean, it's definitely been something of a story to watch, and it's just unfortunate, really, because the Miners are not the primary tenor, which is the thing for pretty much, well, yeah, pretty much every every team in the indoor and arena football scene are not the primary tenant, like not. So it's just gonna have to get over it. And that's what I'm gonna do. Get over it and watch some of the stuff for this week and get ready for next week to see what continues to go on because our crazy sport continues to deliver each and every week, and I love every second of it. There are 506 of you now. It was 507 yesterday, but 506. I'll take that. But yeah, for me to you, big boy out. I think I have another interview in the works as well, so be on the lookout for that.